So next on our list is to be able to edit an existing activity. And if we take a look at what we were doing for this in our app.tsx, we were using the agent activities update activity, and then we were using the set activities to go and filter out all of the other activities and then add our updated activity back into that array. And then we were setting the selected activity and we were setting the edit mode back to false. So we'll do an equivalent thing inside our activity store. And just below our create activity, I'm just going to create another new action and call this one, unsurprisingly, edit activity. And once again, this is going to be an async method. And we'll pass in our activity of iActivity. And we'll use the submitting. So we'll say list.submitting equals true. Then we'll add our try catch block. And inside the try block, what we'll do is just use our agent activities update activity. So I'll just copy that into my clipboard, give it the await keyword, and then pass this in. Then if we take a look again, we'll set our activity. And what we can do is say this.activityregistry.set, and then we can say our activity.id, and then pass in our activity, which is our updated activity. Then we can set our selected activity to the activity, and then we can turn off the edit mode and say this.edit mode equals false, and then we can say this.submitting is equal to false. And we'll just copy this one into the clipboard and paste it into our catch, and then just use a console.log in case of an error. So we need to go to our activity form to make use of this. So let's head over to the activity form, and all we need to do is, where we're destructuring our props from our activity store, we'll just destructure the edit activity as well. And because of that, we now get an error because we're using a duplicate identifier. And we'll be able to remove our edit activity from here, and also from our interface. And we can also remove the submitting actually now as well. So let's add this into our destructured props as well, and remove this from our destructured props here. And then we'll need to go up the chain so that we can remove all of this code from our parent components. So our activity form is a child of the activity dashboard. And what we'll need to do is remove the submitting and the edit activity from there. Then also from the props here, we can't remove submitting because we're using that in our activity list at this moment. We'll change that later, but just so we don't break anything, we'll leave that in place. But we can remove the edit activity from these props. And let's go up to the next level up, which is our app.tsx. And we'll need to remove the edit activity from this. And also then we can remove our handle edit activity. And we're making progress. Our app component is getting smaller by the minute. But let's head back to our activity form and let's take a look at where we're at with this. And this is our edit activity from the store. And we've also got access to our submitting flag from the store as well. So everything else should stay the same. And let's go and take a look and make sure this is working. And if I click onto view an activity and click on edit, and our edit button doesn't actually do anything at the moment. So we need to go back and actually add another action so that we can set the edit mode to true in this case. And what we'll do is we'll go back to the activity store. And we'll also need an additional action here just to say open, I'll just say open edit form in this case. And what we'll actually do in this case, we'll take in the ID of string just so that we can select an activity as well when we're doing this. And what we can do is say list.selectedActivity is equal to list.activityRegistry. And we can use the get and say the ID in this case. And then we can say list.editMode is equal to true. And what we'll need to do is use this openEditForm method inside our activity details component. So we've already got the store coming in here, and let's just bring in the openEditForm from the activity store, and let's just use this method in place of the setEditModeTrue that we had here, and we'll need to pass in the activity.id in this case, and we need to accommodate the fact that it could be null, so we'll also need to add the exclamation mark. And when I say accommodate the fact that it could be null, we know that we're only displaying our activity details if we definitely have an activity. So we just need to tell TypeScript that we know what we're doing here. And what we also need actually inside this particular component as well is the ability to cancel the selected activity. And we'll also need a method to cancel the form open as well. So let's just go ahead and create those whilst we're here. And in our activity store, once again, let's just add an action to cancel selected activity, which will take no parameters, and all we'll do is we'll just say list.selectedActivity is equal to undefined. And we'll also add another quick action inside here as well and say cancel form open, and we'll just set this to say list.editMode is equal to false. So now we have access to these methods as well. Let's head back to our activity details, and I'll just bring in the cancel selected activity into our destructured props. And then I'll use this instead of this particular method here. And this should allow us to cancel the activity that's been selected. What this also means is that I can now remove the remaining props from our activity details component. So I can remove the destructured props here. I can also remove the type from the component as well. And then I can just remove this interface entirely because we don't need it anymore. And what I'll also need to do is go back up the chain again, so back to the activity dashboard, and we'll need to remove the props we're not using, so I can remove both of these. And now our activity details is receiving no props from its parent component. And we can also remove the set selected activity here. So let's remove that. And above the dashboard is the app component, so let's also remove the set selected activity from there as well. And back to our activity details components, and we should be good to test now, so let's go take a look. And if I click on View past Activity 1 and click on Edit, we now see our component in the edit mode, and if I change the title of past activity 11 and click submit, then we see the change inside here and also inside the list as well. And let's make sure that if I change the dates that it also appears in the correct place in our list as well. So let's just click on edit again, and I'll just give it a date in July so it appears after past activity 2. And let's change the month to July and just say July 10th and click submit. And indeed it does. Past activity 2 is moved to the top of this list, and then we should find that every date after that is appearing in date order. And it is. And if I click cancel, then we cancel out of the selected mode, and let's just make sure that we can cancel out of our form, which we can't because we didn't actually hook up that particular functionality. So let's go back to our activity form, and we added an action inside here to say cancel form open. And let's just add this one to our cancel button here. So we don't need this set edit mode equals false. So let's just say cancel form open, and then we should be able to remove some more stuff from our activity form, and we can remove this set edit mode and remove this from our props as well. And once again, we're just going to go back up the chain to remove it from our dashboard. So we'll remove this set edit mode here, and also from the destructured props here, and also from our interface as well. And let's go back up to the app component, remove the set edit mode from here as well, and looking good. We've still got some more stuff that we're not actually using and we could clean up now, but I'm going to move on and we're going to tackle the delete activity next. And then after we've done that, we'll have a big cleanup of anything else that we're not using. But next up, we'll take a look at deleting the activity.